Hello, my friends, and welcome to another week of art. Let's get started. I'm going to share my screen if I can get it to come up. Here we go. Okay. Oh, jumping ahead. Okay, we are in week of February 3rd through the 10th. Our I can statements, or I can create a work of art based on the work of African American artist Alma Thomas, and I can create the drawing using line, color, and shape. What will we do today? We're going to review our rules and expectations, review how we use line, color, and shape, show examples of Alma Thomas's art, and demonstrate how to create a drawing using line, color, and shape, and create your art and turn it in. I review our art room rules. Attitude is a choice, so have a positive attitude. Respect everyone and try your best. You must be good listeners and try your best and complete the work in art. If you are an online learner, take a picture of your artwork and attach to Seesaw, Class Dojo, or email me at eturner@ecps.us. If you are returning to school, and we still have some students who are coming back face to face, this is what you should expect from art class. I will come to your classroom for art. So I'll push my card in to teach, and we will wear our mask, social distance, and keep our hands and our area clean. And remember, you will mainly use your own supplies for our lessons. Okay, quick review. We have been talking about the elements of art, and the elements of art are the ingredients that make up art. And one of those ingredients is line. And line is a path that starts with a point and it continues. And a line can be made different ways. It can be just a straight line. It can be a squiggly line with lots of curves, polka dots, zigzags, all kinds of lines. And a line is actually used to create a shape, and the shape is the outline of an object. And this is also an element of art. And we looked at different types of shapes, like the triangle, rectangle, square, circle, oval, diamond, and organic shapes like leaves or fruit or clouds. Okay, I've got a quick little story to that's going to be read to you. It's called How the Crayons Saved the Rainbow, because we're going to be looking at artwork that has a lot of bright colors in it from like the rainbow. So let me pull this up.
Read you one of my favorite stories called How the Crayons Saved the Rainbow. How the Crayons Saved the Rainbow, written by Monica Sweeney and illustrated by Veronia Parker Thomas. The sun and the clouds were best friends. They worked together to keep the earth warm and gardens growing. But of all the things they did together, their very favorite was making rainbows so that the whole world was colorful and happy. Then one day, the sun and the clouds had a big fight. The clouds were blocking the sun, and the sun couldn't shine through to the earth. The sun went sizzle, sizzle, sizzle at the clouds, and the clouds went clap, bang, boom, back. They stopped being friends and were never in the sky together again. With the sun and the clouds far apart, it was scorching hot on some days and damp and cold on others. And worst of all, there were no more rainbows. Without rainbows, the flowers, streams, and even cities started to lose their color. Soon the earth was black and white. But in one little town, in one little school, in one little desk, there was one little forgotten box of crayons. And the crayons still had all their colors. The desk rattled. It shook, it clambered, and clanked. All of a sudden, it toppled over and the box of crayons tumbled out. The crayons started to search for the colors. They raided marker bins and tore through art projects, but everything as far as they could see was only black and white. Who made all the colors go away? This is so sad. This is terrible. What about daffodils and butter? If oranges aren't orange, do I even exist? The crayons looked out the window. The sun was all the way to one side of the sky looking angry, and the clouds were all the way to the other looking gloomy. I miss all the colors. We can't even draw rainbows together now. Wait, that's it. We need to save the rainbows. So the crayons started drawing little rainbows all over town, but nothing happened. The sun and the clouds didn't even seem to notice.
We have to make our rainbows bigger, Violet said. Working together, the crayons drew and scribbled. They made the biggest, brightest, most colorful rainbow the world had ever seen.
Ever so slowly, the sun perked up and the clouds floated in for a closer look. The sun and the clouds both peered down, admiring the giant rainbow that the crayons had drawn. Wow, what bright colors, said the sun. It's incredible, said the clouds. They looked at each other with great big smiles. The sun said to the clouds, "Remember when we used to be together all the time and make rainbows?" The clouds nodded. "I'm sorry for going clap, bang, boom at you." "I'm sorry for going sizzle, sizzle, sizzle at you," said the sun.
It's better being friends, said the sun, and the clouds agreed. They hugged. The sun shined brightly and the clouds misted happy rain. Ever so slowly, rainbows reappeared near and far, turning the world colorful once again. The end.
Okay, that's a great book. Now, on to our next slide.
Read you one of my favorite stories.
Okay. All right, let's look at the artist Alma Thomas. Now, she was born long ago in the late 1800s, I think, and she passed away in 1978. So she has been gone for a while, but her artwork lives on. And she is a famous Black artist. And if you look at her work, I've got like a couple of images here that you can see. Already you see some things that remind you of things from nature, like the sun. This almost reminds me of like an eclipse. When the sun, is in the sky and you see those rings around it. You're not supposed to look directly at the sun, but if we could, with a special telescope, we might be able to see rings where it's radiating out from the sun. We like to draw rays that are coming out from the sun, but what she did a pattern of a line that went around the sun with different colors. And she used colors from the rainbow and the sky. And as it got bigger, that line got bigger and wider, but it also changed colors. Now, here's a photograph of Alma, and there's one of her paintings. This is a black and white photograph of her. So you don't see all those bright colors, but you can see how large her painting was there. And to the right, this kind of reminds me of a blanket because of the patterns that you see on it. Let's take a look. Now these are the ones I really love because they remind me of a landscape, which is like a drawing or a painting of something that you might see outside. And it looks like a mountain or maybe a lake in front of it with the sun setting in the sky. But she did all of this with color. And she created shapes using these colors and lines. Excuse me. So she used a lot of color in this. And she used a lot of like crayon and paints to create her works of art. And we're going to be using crayon just like in the story. Here's another painting. I kind of like this one too. It's a very simple circle, but she used bands of color in it. Now, I'm going to show you a demo, but I want you to remember that your artwork doesn't have to look like mine. These are just examples. And I was thinking of maybe like a landscape, but I would do simple shapes. So not necessarily try to make it look exactly like what I was seeing, but the shapes remind me of things that I might have seen. Okay, let me get this one. Oh, hold on a second. I'm sorry. Let me get this up. Okay. All right. Let's start with the first one. This is a detailed one, but it is made using crayon. Okay. And you already see, like I have the sun, looks like it's setting and the rays are coming out. But notice how I colored them. I didn't use solid colors. I used like different lines, like the dash lines. I used a pattern of stripes, but notice how I colored them. Not necessarily coloring in the same direction. That means that sometimes we tend to just go side to side, or we do little circles. But I like the idea of adding some texture, which is how something seems to feel. It gives it kind of a different look just using the crayons. So we've got that one. And then I did another one, and these look like pyramids or mountains. And you can see I used shapes on the inside as well, coloring those in. And I drew some clouds in the sky. And you can see how I used that broken line and I just repeated it going around those shapes. And it makes like, it almost looks like they're moving in the sky by doing that. And this is a drawing that I started to do because this is where you can use like a simple shape. Like we have Valentine's coming up. So I thought I could use the heart in the middle and do a huge rainbow around it. And that's what these curves are. And then I break up the space with some lines and I can add some color. I haven't colored it yet, but I wanted to show you just how to get started with the drawing part. Now I'm doing this on dry erase. I'm going to show you a little bit of adding the color, but I'm not finishing it and try to add more color than what I'm doing is what I'm saying. So this is simply just a drawing. Okay, this is the land that I'm adding and maybe some mountains. And then my sun that's setting or rising and the rays going out. And this is where I could add some color like I did in my finished drawing. And then maybe some hills up front. So that's like one simple drawing. That's just a simple shape without the color in it. But I want to see lots of color because we want to see colors of the rainbow in there. And here's kind of how I did the heart. Notice how big the heart is on this size paper, okay? It's not a tiny heart. And I'm doing like a huge rainbow that looks like it's going behind the heart. If I wanted to do more than one heart, I could, but just pay attention to the size of your paper, okay? Because this would be filled with color. This is what I was talking about when I said you don't necessarily need to color in one direction. You notice how I'm using the little zigzag of color that I'm going into this stripe. I could go in another direction, which is like these dash marks that I'm making, these hashy marks to fill that line. And then I've got almost like a little dash, almost like a road to create some color inside one of my rays of the rainbow. But I have not finished coloring that yet. Remember, it's going to look, when it's finished, it's going to be colorful like this. Look at how much color I've got on the page. And take your time, okay? This should be fun, but you want it to look nice. And just try out some of these different patterns. Look at the shapes that I used in there, the little squares. I did like the little dashes that went around the circle. I did rectangles here. I did more circles here, smaller circles like a pattern. So just try it out. And you can also see where I did the dash marks, but I changed the colors. I formed a pattern. I have green, yellow, blue, green. And then I started a new one with another green, yellow, and green. So, I mean, try different patterns in this as well. Okay, so go to my next one. All right, so what you're going to be doing is you're going to complete a drawing based on the artist that I just showed you, Alma Thomas. And we saw examples of her artwork, how she used line and color and shape in her paintings. And we're going to be doing that in crayon. Online learners must take a picture and post to Seesaw or Class Dojo or email it to me. And if you have questions, please feel free to email me or call me. If you don't have crayons at home, you could do this with marker. You could try it with paint. You could also, if you don't have anything with color, you can always try doing it in black and white, but you're using different types of line, okay? And patterns in there, like dot, dash, dot, dash. So that's a pattern. So again, I want to see your artwork, and I hope that you create an original work of art using your supplies. And that's it for now. So I can't wait to see your artwork that you create. I miss you, love you, and can't wait to see you soon. Have a great week. Bye for now.